This video is sponsored by MC Pro Hosting. If you want your own Minecraft server, then I'd highly recommend using the service MC Pro Hosting. You can obtain lots of different servers on their website, and using my code AsherWasHere for 25% off of your first month of payment. This is going to be the first link in the description. Now, on to the video. 100 days in Minecraft. However, this time I take on a little bit of a different challenge. I spent 100 days as a Minecraft businessman. And for what sadly might be one of the last 100-day videos on this channel, due to Tiramis SMP, this is probably the best one. I played 100 days in Minecraft on a city roleplay adventure server called BusinessCraft. Here, you can start companies, rent apartments, grind materials to sell to other players for money, buy a car, and much, much more. What interested me about this server is that everything is player ran. The shops, the businesses, the buildings, everything. It's all ran by players, and you're even able to become a police officer and arrest criminals, or run for government, or own your own city. I did a lot in this video, but I wasn't able to show off everything, so I highly recommend checking out the server for yourself. The IP is play.mcbusinesscraft.com, and there is so much to do. I recommend signing up to the forum website as well, as they have lots of information there, and you can post a bunch of stuff there, and it's just really helpful in getting involved in the community. Anyways, let's get started with day one. Day one, I spawned into the server with Bucky, and we decided to go through the tutorial. We learned about the server, how to rent an apartment, get jobs, etc., and start off on our adventure. You cannot start as a businessman, but instead, we started as just citizens. By the end of the tutorial, we learned that we need money in order to progress in the server to get anywhere, so we started off figuring that out first. Also, you could pick between city life and wilderness life. I decided to go with wilderness life as I could do a lot more in a shorter amount of time. But Bucky, he stayed in the city. Day 2, Bucky and I explored the mall and found out that there were a ton of player-run shops all over this large mall. You could basically rent out areas in the mall to then go and set up your shop, and then players will come there and buy and sell stuff. I ended up doing this later in the video. Afterwards, Bucky attacked me and I fell to my death. Then, I respawned in the hospital. Day 3, I explored the hospital and learned that killing people in cities without consent is illegal, but if you do consent, it's just fine. So, I just said that I consented to Bucky killing me, which is kind of funny because I would never let Bucky kill me. Anyway, you could also become a doctor on the server, and Bucky said I'd be a cute nurse. Weirdo. You could also become Doctor of the Month, and it's really cool to see a new person getting this role each month, and the server just feeling really alive no matter what you're doing. Day 4, Bucky and I continued exploring and eventually rented out an apartment for a month. We decided to live together in this apartment on the top floor of the sand building, and turns out someone was here, then got evicted, and lost all their stuff. Sad. So we decided to just take their stuff for them, and at the end of the day, we went to sleep together. Not in the weird way, guys, come on. Day 5, we fixed up our apartment a little bit before I set out to explore more, finding an area where I could buy a bike or a car, and then decided to visit this guy's shop, as I got a fairly shady message from him. He showed me where to sell stuff, so now, if I want a car, I need to collect items to sell in order to give him money to get, more stuff for a car. Sick! But yeah, cars are really expensive, and I definitely need to spend more time on this server if I want one. Day 6 through 8, I warped out to the wilderness and spent the next 2 days walking around, exploring, and cutting down a ton of trees. I want to gather stuff and find shops where I can sell stuff and make a bit more money in order to, make the rent for my apartment, as well as some other stuff in the business world, get a better job, and then even my own shop. Days 9 through 11, I delved under the ground into multiple caves and mined for iron, gold, and other goodies that I can sell for more cash, as well as, use to upgrade my tools and stuff. I'm excited to see where I can get with these 100 days, and I want to move through this quickly. I also discovered an area in the wilderness that I'm going to go ahead and build my own home and keep most of my stuff there. But I didn't start building there for a little while. I wanted to buy a car as the server had custom vehicles in it. I was having a lot of fun so far, and I couldn't wait to keep going. Day 12, I returned to the city, and I spent the whole day looking around at all the player shops and hopefully be able to sell stuff to other players. However, I was only able to find just the one sell shop that shady guy from earlier showed me. So for now, I guess I can keep looking. Day 13, I returned to the apartment complex and spent some of my money to rent out my own apartment, as Bucky had left the server for now. This apartment was just below Bucky's top floor apartment, and I wanted to have my own space when Bucky wasn't online, so I rented out this one for myself. Afterwards, I organized all the stuff and prepared to go exploring to find my driver's test, as I wanted to buy a car to get around quicker because cars are freaking fun! Of course, I don't have enough money for one, so yeah, that's gonna be an issue. Day 14, I left the apartment and explored a bit of the city, looking all around before eventually coming across the university, where I spent a stupid amount of time trying to become a driver. I took the hunting test this day though and passed it pretty quickly. Now that I was a hunter, it means that I can kill mobs much quicker and easier, and that's gonna be my main source of getting income. But on days 15 and 16, I spent the next 40 minutes of my life waiting and wasting money to try and pass this stupid driving test. I don't know what question I was getting wrong, but I had to test every single question and take the test like 10 times just to pass. What a glorious waste of time! Oh, wait, there's a forum page that gives you all the answers? What? Jeffrey, can you cut these days out? Day 17, I spent the entire day looking for the car dealership before just asking some random guy to show me where it was. Afterwards, I realized the price of a car is $2,500, and oh my god, I'm so poor. I decided to go ahead and see if I can gather materials to sell to the government to make money from. Day 18, I spent the whole day farming mobs outside to get more coins and stuff. That's all I did this day, then I returned to my apartment. Day 19, I decided that killing the mobs is going to take way too long for me to do, so instead I decided to grind for a bit of materials in order to get some money and perhaps start my own company or something. I spent day 19 reading about how the server works and with the companies and business stuff, and in order to get set up and really start to delve into the server. I went to the forums, made an account, and went to sign up for a job, hopefully reaching one and being able to start to collect money. Although, after reading about it, it looks like I won't be able to get any, government jobs unless I've played for 2 weeks, or I've got 24 hours of in-game playtime. And since I'm only playing for 100 days for 33 hours, it looks like I'm not meeting the quota quite yet. Day 20, because of this whole getting a job thing, I decided for a while in this video I'm going to move out of my apartment and instead go to the wilderness and build my own home. Now, I'm still going to explore a bunch of the cities, as there's more than just one, and eventually I'm going to have a large chunk of this video be just me exploring, so if you want to see that, skip to a little bit later in the video. As for the next 20 days, I'm going to go ahead and start building up my base in this server, and I do a little bit of exploring here and there as well. Then afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and explore some more, pass a few more exams, maybe start my own company, and become a businessman in Minecraft. Day 21, I spent traveling around the wilderness before finding a place to settle down and start building. I also want to go explore after we do a bit of building. Day 22, I spent the whole day gathering logs to use for building, and created a few chests at the end of the day to store all my stuff in. On days 23 and 24, I fought a bunch of mobs at nighttime before finally starting to build my base, digging out a nice area for myself to live in, and using wood as support beams. Day 25, I made a door to my base and moved all of my chests inside. Afterwards, I actually ended up taking fall damage and breaking my leg, so I had to return to the hospital for the next day and buy a leg splint and probably some more things in order to heal myself. This was a neat little mechanic that can be pretty annoying, but it is realistic. Day 26, I returned to town and spent most of the day looking around for the hospital. Just like BusinessCraft, the website map really helps out with this server, and I tend to get lost without using it. I found the hospital, bought a leg splint, cured my broken leg, and then I spent the rest of the day wandering around planning things to do. Day 27, I returned home and decided to work on my base some more, creating glass windows and a more comforting area for my chests. I was almost done with a small beginner base, but I needed to set up a source of food and hopefully make a mine to grab some diamonds for extra money. Day 28, I completely redid the floor on my base using birchwood to make it pretty, and that's it. That's all I did this day. Day 29, I dug out an area for my bedroom and then went on a soul-searching journey over the mountains and plains to find sheep. I eventually found a sheep, killed it, picked up some flowers, and returned home for the next day. Day 30, I spent gathering wood for my base, and at the end of the day, I made a bed for me to set my spawn point at. Day 31, I decided to go ahead and make a farm right outside my base, so I made a hoe and got some seeds and made this little farm area. Afterwards, I killed some mobs for nighttime, broke my leg again, and had to return to the city to grab yet another leg splint. This kind of sucks. Day 32, I returned to the town and got the splint from the hospital. Then I decided to explore for a bit, discovering tons of empty businesses that I could rent out or make into my own business. This server gets cooler and cooler the more I explore. I want to explore a bit more of this starter city, so I headed out in seek of adventure. Day 33 and 34, I crossed a bridge and discovered a ton of suburban houses. I must have gone in like all of the houses, as there were so many to explore and so much detail put into them. I haven't found one I wanted to buy, but of course I didn't have, $6 grand. Day 35, I discovered plots of land you can rent out and buy for other players to use. This was pretty interesting to me because I knew that this video was going to be pretty grindy and there's a lot of stuff I wanted to build, but I knew that this video is going to be me grinding for materials as well. And the whole getting a job thing isn't really as easy as you might think. Anyways, I caught a bus and headed back into town, and I think it's really interesting how this server is completely player driven. The economy, shops, businesses, farmland, housing, apartments, all ran and built by players. It's insane what the developers of the server have done, and I'm glad to be able to take part in it. The next chunk of days, I decided to go on this huge adventure across the BusinessCraft map. I looked at the farms a bit more, before crossing over to a nearby desert, going into the nether, looking around a bit before my axe broke, and then I retreated, made another one, then continued exploring. I found an abandoned house and borrowed a few items from the unlocked chest, killed a few mobs, and eventually came across this giant mountain made of diorite. I climbed it, and discovered a city on the other side. There were shops, a hospital, and tons of other things all built and ran by other players. There was an awesome volleyball tournament minigame thing here, and there were tons of buildings to explore. explore. This is an awesome city. I spent a lot of time here. It looks like no one lived here anymore, which is kind of sad, or at least if they do live here, they're not online right now. We need to get more players online, so go and fill this server and play with me if you enjoyed this video. Anyways, after this large chunk of days, I returned to my home base and set a bunch of food to cook, ready to go and build and explore more in the city roleplay adventure server. Days 43 and 44, I decorated and finished my base inside the mountain here. I wanted to go ahead and grab more materials to build a few houses and a couple other things around my area in order to have a decently set up building area and maybe even start a town or something. That would be really cool. Day 45, I spent clearing out my large area from my wilderness base, and now I wanted to explain why it seems like I'm not getting a lot done in these days. So every day I do something and explain to you, while during the nighttime, because I'm a hunter, I just spend the night killing mobs. So it seems like I'm getting a little less done every day than I would normally do, say, in other 100-day videos. Anyways, I cleared out an area to work with for building, and then started to work on a mine shaft to gather more materials. Day 46, I cut down a ton of birch trees and decided to use slabs to make it sort of easier to walk down the terrain around my base. Day 47, I placed a ton of path blocks all around and connected all my areas together. I wanted to start building a mine shaft soon, and I started to dig a hole inside of the mountain next to my base in order to create this mine shaft. Day 48, I finished the paths and cutting out in an area for my mine shaft. I didn't do much this day as I was trying to figure out what my next course of action was when it came to the server, as I didn't want to only work on my wilderness base so much before returning to the city and starting up a shop and sell some items, stuff like that. I just want to find more to do. Day 49 to 51, in order for me to start a shop, I need to have materials to sell. So I decided to spend the next few days cutting trees, crafting ladders, and then digging out a large mine shaft that goes all the way down to like bedrock level to get some diamonds, gold, iron, redstone, and a ton of other materials that I can sell. I wanted to either set up my own shop or sell a bunch of items myself to other players in order to grab a lot of extra cash, use that to buy a car, a house, or just keep it for myself. That's what I ended up doing. And specifically, I really wanted a car, but I don't think I have enough time to actually grind out one. Anyways, I'm heading back into the city for a few hours of material grinding, and I didn't want to spend 3 hours mining, but I knew I had to spend a lot of this video mining up materials, as I was going to keep it as the main source of money making in the game. Getting materials from the mines, killing mobs, and then selling all of that to other players. Day 52 to 60, I spent the next like 3 hours mining underground while watching a movie. I ended up getting a ton of materials and bought some chests as well as a water source down here in order to be able to just jump into my mining hole. I had one main area for mining and then a bunch of branch mines going out as far as I could take them, mining up a ton of materials to hopefully go and sell somewhere. Day 61, I finished up mining and decided I wanted to start setting up a shop to sell all the materials I got. So I returned to the main city only to learn that I had the plague! So I traveled to the hospital and got a few potions to heal it. However, when I left the hospital... Transition to the next day, Jeffrey. Day 62, this crazy guy attacked me saying it was the Purge. What? I tried to bargain with him saying I had 50k on YouTube, but he didn't seem to care. So, because he outgeared me and I suck at PvP, he destroyed me and basically ended up spawn killing me and a few other players a lot. Something I learned quickly is that the server is all about player interaction, because despite all of my efforts... Day 63, I tried to discover an airport, but this guy kept coming after me! So I died once again and decided to go ahead and join their Discord server and literally report the guy to the police. What? So apparently the other players who are literally the police are going to put him in jail? What? That's hilarious. Day 64, I was finally able to discover and explore this airport, as apparently you can take planes to other locations on the map. I spent the day looking around. I absolutely love how everything is built in this server, and it's so much fun and interesting to go and look at all these builds. There's also a dynamic map website that I mentioned earlier that I've been utilizing to get around really easily. I want to go and explore all the other big cities that are around, and I know I'll spend way too much time doing that in this video. Day 65, I spent outside killing mobs. I wanted to go ahead and set up a shop inside the main city just to have a spot to sell some of my important items to get money to afford new things, as in the end, this is a business server. Heck, you could even be elected to be part of the government and make the laws. Actually, I'm not really sure how that works, but you can be elected to be a politician, and you and a bunch of other players kind of come together, and I know it's a job, I just don't know too much about it, but there is a article on the forum page that you can read about it. Day 66, I returned to the mines for a short while, crafted a diamond pickaxe, mined up some obsidian, and then realized I needed a sugarcane farm in order to create an enchantment table. Day 67 all the way to 70, I went out on an adventure searching for sugarcane, as apparently people have explored pretty much everywhere on this server, so it's really hard to find naturally generating anything anymore. I found a bunch of random structures and what looks like a new city that's being worked on, and I found a couple random things, killed some mobs, and eventually just gave up on the sugarcane, deciding to buy it from the shop in town instead. So for day 71, I just traveled back to town. Day 71, I spent in town chatting with a few people and discovering a shop area someone had given to me, as well as getting some sugarcane there. Day 72 and 73, I cleared out an area for my enchantment table at home and set up my sugarcane farm all around. I placed some water down to pray for it to grow. I spent the rest of the day looking through my chests and seeing what I had in order to start my shop. Day 74 to 76, I was going to go ahead and sell some stuff at this little shop here. I needed to learn how shops work and also needed to sell some items to get enough money to rent a shop. I hope by day 100 I have enough money to purchase a car, but I probably won't, as I'm still struggling with the economy. I returned to town and went to set up the shop and learned all about it, and apparently I just had to place my chest down, put a sign on it, and put my name, what I was selling, how much I was selling it for, etc, etc. By day 77, I had a fully functioning shop. I decided to sell bones, gunpowder, and other mob drops that I've collected solely because I'm a hunter and I just had a lot of extra laying around. I'm glad I set this up because now you guys could totally 100% come on the server, buy stuff from me because I need money. And anyways, I returned home and it's time to go explore some stuff in the open world, and I want to go ahead and visit another city, do some grinding, bit of building, and I'm gonna go ahead and clump a bunch of the next days together just so I can actually finish the video on time so that you guys can be entertained by it. Day 78 to 83, I decided to leave the city and travel towards a bunch of the other cities. I want to go ahead and explore all of the other cities on this map before day 100 just to show you guys everything that's around. I also needed to grind more materials and learn how to sell items directly to the government, as I know that's possible to do, I just don't know where their shop is. I discovered the hunting headquarters in one city, a few cool houses and other buildings in another, and then the actual Capitol building in a cool hospital in the last city. It was a successful adventure and genuinely really fun to explore around for the majority of these 100 days. And also, yeah, I was running on the highways. It might be illegal. Don't talk about it. On days 84 to 88, I returned home and ended up mining out a huge area of dirt and creating this large platform that I'm going to build a few houses on. I was thinking of maybe starting my own town here or something, and I want to get this done by the end of the video. Day 89 to 93, the next 4 days, I decided to go ahead and start building. I gathered up a ton of wood and then built 2 houses. I know I'm chugging a lot of days together, but as I'm editing this, I'm also doing finals, finishing school and stuff, so I'm kind of being lazy. But anyway, go away! Blah! Day 94, I got a bad case of the plague, and I had to run around Business City, blind, slow, and being attacked by some random dude for no reason. I finally cured myself at the end of the day. I have no idea why this guy was attacking me. He was like, I don't even know, but he just attacked. Like, he didn't kill me. He just like punched me a couple times. Day 95 and 96, I spent the next 2 days grinding some mobs to stock up my store and keep it stocked before the end of the video so that people can actually buy things from me. Day 97 and 98, I planted a bunch of trees around my base, making a tree farm for myself, so I have to walk over to the forest and cut down some trees. I also fell down this cave and then died and then explored it for a bit. Day 99, I decided to return to town and go to the university and become an entrepreneur so that I can finally say that I became a Minecraft businessman in the 100 days. I also looked at Bucky and his old apartments and decided that I was pretty much set to conclude the video. Sorry that the last quarter this was done very quickly, but again, editing this was really, really hard for me as I was kind of sick and, yeah, you know, it's not the point. The point is, it's done. And thank you. Anyways, let's go on to day 100. Day 100. Honestly, this server is much better than I think I ever could have imagined. Everything's player ran, shops, government, police, etc. It's a super fun experience, and I really want all of you guys to join me so we can get more players in here. I remember this really popular Roblox game that was like a city adventure thing, and it's pretty much exactly like that. I want to let you all know that I appreciate all of you, and I'm releasing a very important video next week sometime for all of you to enjoy. I'm not on an upload schedule anymore, I'm just kind of uploading whenever. Anyways, be sure to check out the server, as it's insanely good. I had a lot of fun with it, and the roleplay is super interesting as well. The players are very nice outside of being purged that one time, but we don't talk about it. Mechanics are fun, and overall, there's just so much that you can do that I haven't gone over yet. Perhaps in another video, I can look more into this Minecraft server. That's all from me, and as always, keep your pants on. Bye-bye!